My name is Brianna, and I welcome you to the Tales of Adventure, a D&D podcast like no other. I hope you don't mind my intrusion, sir, but the people here seem rather wary of you, so if you don't mind, I'm going to sit here. They'll leave you alone if they see you're with me.
Oh, thank you. I am a bit on the prickly side. I hadn't noticed they had gave me such a wide berth. I do suppose it is wise.
Well, they also know to not mess with anyone they consider a friend, which reminds me, what's your name and what brings you here?
My name is Kalt. I'm a bit in between adventures at the moment. I decided to come to this small town for a respite.
Oh, so you are an adventurer.
Some would probably say that, yes. I'm more of a experimenter.
Oh, experiments. What kind of experiments do you run? Are you an alchemist?
More of the secrets of undeath.
Oh, so you're a necromancer. I've
Uh,
worked with a few in my time.
oh, yes. I,
Well, find your study of magic interesting, if unsettling at times.
I am so glad you said that. My shipmates think everything I do is just awful. I'm gonna be flat out honest with you. I haven't spent a whole lot of time with other people, and my shipmates are, I guess you would call them sociable. I've been trying to practice my conversational skills. This seems like a good opportunity.
So, how long have you been traveling with these shipmates?
Not too long. We escaped from prison together, just but a few weeks ago.
What are you in prison for?
I'd rather not say.
Don't worry, I've been in my fair share of prisons.
I do have an affinity for flame.
Oh, I believe I may have heard about whatever it was you may or may not have done. I won't question though. So, what brings you to this area, you and your friends?
We are, we're taking a small respite from the Badlands where we hail from. We're just trying to, get our bearings a bit. We are new to each other as to our ship, and we're still figuring everything out.
You mentioned you've been on several adventures. Where all have you been and what all have you done? I'm rather curious.
My most recent adventure would probably be, well, one of my more recent ones would be escaping Farpoint with my current companions. It was interesting to say the least.
I'm familiar with that prison. Interesting indeed to escape.
So you are familiar with the giant named Bell.
Yes.
I hope you were not close. He did not make it.
Hmm. Unfortunate. Now they're going to find a new giant who may not be quite as easy to bribe.
Uh, he was quite the simpleton. I do still have his skull, though, if you would like to say anything to it. It is on the
Oh, thank you. I'm good.
Oh, though, unfortunate. I was never fond of Bell in life, but in undeath he is most amusing.
How long have you been practicing necromancy?
It's a good question. Several years. Many more before that, finding the true answers that lead to necromancy.
Hmm. What drew you to it of all the practices?
I wished to bring back my mother, but when I found the secrets, I learned that it was only a facade, not a true thing that can be done.
The unfortunate truth. For necromancy isn't the answer to everything, though it's quite useful in its own weird way.
Oh, it is quite useful.
Well, tell me, how did you get out of the prison?
Ah, yes. We were imprisoned in a strange structure. It was just but bare bars with a large rock put on top to keep us keep us inside. Luckily, one of my new companions by the name of Maeve, a small demon girl, she had the power to enlarge and reduce. She was able to reduce the boulder, and with that, we made an escape out of our simple prison. Let, little did we know that the island itself is a much larger prison, a dangerous one at that.
Dangerous indeed. It takes quite a lot to be imprisoned there. They've since given up trying to put
Yes.
me there. I still avoid the area.
Yes, they would have a hard time doing it now as we burned it to the ground.
So you do necromancy and fire.
Oh, I am what's called a double hitter.
Interesting combination indeed. I imagine incinerating your enemies makes it a little harder to bring them back from the dead, though.
You would be correct. But luckily, skeletons are quite harder to burn into ash.
That is true. I've never really thought about it that way.
Ah, when you've done it as many times as me, you observe these things.
What are some of the other things you have done? Like, have you traveled with any others before this group?
Sadly, no. I'm what has been deemed on the ship as antisocial. Evidently, my personality is quote unquote hostile and quote unquote disgusting and quote unquote cruel. I don't see it though.
Don't particularly see it either, but then again, I've had dinner with tyrants before. Can't say I recommend it.
Ooh, tyrants. It's I've never had dinner with a tyrant. Do they taste good?
Can't say I've tasted a tyrant. I've may have almost accidentally tasted one of their enemies before my cleric friend pointed out that what I was
Ooh.
about to eat was no animal. The tyrant did not survive the dinner.
Ah, so you're a bit skittish around quote unquote foreign meats, eh?
Not a big fan of cannibalism, no.
It's an acquired taste.
I'll take your word on that.
I hope somebody will. My crewmates are not quite down with it, as they say.
It's, as you say, it's acquired taste, and not many are interested in acquiring that taste.
So after we were able to escape from our simple prison, we were almost thwarted by Bel, the stone giant. We were able to, I suppose, belittle him into acquiescence. He was not very intelligent, as it seems, but
Not very.
as I say, quite the dullard. But he did prove helpful in the end.
So,
Ah, well, he served a very good distraction. As we were able to learn, it seems that the ruler of the island was a man or half orc by the name of the Far Lord, not a creative title for someone that lives on Far Point, I suppose, but yeah, half orcs in their ways.
yes, he's not very creative unless it comes to designing prisons and ways to torture people.
Ah, yes, I heard. Bell enumerated as such. But he served as ample distraction after we made a bit of ruckus and were able to make our way out. He fought the other, I guess, rank and file members of this island, and we were able to make our escape and try and, I say escape, before we left the island, able to find our gear, and before some of the softer hearted members of my party tried to help him. Of course, we got stuck dealing with that for a minute or two.
Some people can't help it. They have to help those in need, especially if someone is helping them.
Yes. Yes, Edmund is quite like that. A bit of a do-gooder, as they say. But they saw Bell falter at the fists of the Farlord, and I guess maybe it was his hammer. There was a lot of fighting, and I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to set everything on fire. But he went in to help, and between all of us, we were able to at least mm, distract him long enough. Unfortunately, we were too late to save Bell in actuality. Another prisoner of ours that we had not really talked too much with, he came along with, his name by the name of Bait, tried to, I guess, land a killing blow on the Farlord, but he was too slow, and him and the Farlord disappeared in some form of magical teleportation. I was never seen anything quite like it before.
So you weren't able to kill him?
Nah, I think he made it away this time.
Darn, I was hoping he might actually be
Yes.
dead. I've been meaning to go back and get some things I left there.
I fear that he is still alive. But also, alas, poor Bell perished. I was able to salvage his skull, though, which I think is an all-in-all out win for everybody involved.
And you can do a lot with the skull, can't you?
It made for a good masthead. It made for a great defensive mechanism for the front of the bow. It's quite. As useless as he was in life. He is quite useful in death.
So that's the ship you're on. I knew something about the masthead felt vaguely familiar.
Yes, you probably saw a small child running around with a very a meager-sized man with a poofy hat, and then a very large dragon man.
Yes, actually, I did. I was having a meeting with some associates of mine. I'll have to remind them that well, we don't need to worry about your ship, do we?
No, it's fine. You can trust me.
You don't mean to cause any harm or burn this town down?
No.
I'll tell them to leave you alone, but I'll also have someone keeping an eye on you. Nothing personal, just
None taken.
I'm grown quite fond of this little town. I've been spending some time here after traveling between different places and dealing with things.
It is quaint. Don't worry, I have no immediate plans of anything nefarious. One needs a port of call. Can't go out and destroy everything.
That would be unwise.
I suppose it would be a bit rude.
Very. And there's some people who would be very unhappy if you did that.
There's always people that are unhappy when anybody does anything, though.
That is a fair point. I'll give you that one.
Haha! I tried using that on my shipmates and they said it was dumb. I'll have to use it again.
So, did you come here from the prison, or where did you go after you escaped?
Well, we spent some time traveling. We were running low on supplies, so I made the decision to head to the island of Stoneholm. I knew it to be a place of law and order, a place where you could get supplies quietly and leave just as quietly. Unfortunately, it seemed that something had become of the island. A foul odor rang out on the waves. The the people seemed crazed by some unseen force. It was completely different from when I had known it previously.
It's very alarming indeed. I hate when that happens.
We had decided to split duty. I would stay on the ship because it seemed like everybody was trying to get on our ship and escape the island. I decided to stay behind while my compatriots explored and tried to find some supplies. But that story is somewhat painful, it seems, to our poor Maeve.
What do you know of what happened?
The details have not been completely told to me as of yet, but it seems her power is wild and untamed, much like the fire itself. It burns in her. she tried to do something, and on the battlefield, they were fighting some form of dog creatures. And when she cast her spells, something deep inside of her sparked, and a well of necrotic energy was released. Unfortunately, there was a great deal of townsfolk near her. I heard that not many survived it.
Is she a sorcerer?
Yes, I believe she is of that ilk. Quite a powerful one, it seems.
As a tragic down says, some sorcerers, part of their magic is not under their control.
Exactly. It's wild and untamed, but potent.
They either get magic that they cannot fully control, or they eventually grow wings or a tail.
Yes, it's quite interesting form of magic inheritance. I have been studying her closely and trying to see if there's a way to replicate it, but so far my attempts have been poo-pooed by the other members of the crew.
What if you tried to do to her?
Oh, mostly just asking her to do spells or try to replicate the feeling she was feeling when she did it. I'm curious to see if it's somehow bound to her emotion.
It would be interesting to see indeed, although I'd recommend making sure that no one is around when you're doing that, and maybe not doing it on the ship.
Mm.
Because
You may have a
fire
point.
on a wooden boat.
I have yet to see the effects of her bringing apart flame, but that is a good point. Her power is unpredictable, to say the least.
Definitely be cautious with that.
I'll take that advice in hand. You've been most helpful this evening.
Go on as many adventures as I have you pick up information.
I even feel like I'm becoming more personable as the minutes fall by.
The people are starting to relax a bit, although that might be the alcohol. It's particularly strong today.
Oh, there's alcohol here?
Yes,
Ah, I don't believe they've offered me a drink or anything as of yet.
I have a drink here for my friend. Okay, come on, no. Yes, he is my friend. You're going to bring a drink. It's okay.
Yes, I'm her friend. Bring me a drink.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. They've had some interesting incidents.
Oh, no problem. I do not blame you, of course.
These people, meanwhile, they're just little hesitant sometimes.
Oh, I understand. Ooh, this is quite delicious. Much better than the seawater I've been drinking previously.
Yes, and probably better for your insides as well.
You know what? I haven't thought about that. You're probably right. We should pick up water while we're here.
Yes, and if you ever have to drink seawater, try boiling it first. Helps get the salt out of it.
Another good point of advice. This is becoming quite a profitable meeting.
You haven't traveled much before this, have you?
More. Yes, on some levels, but never with people. I've been mostly alone for the major portions of my life.
And how long have you been traveling with this group again?
Just but a mere couple of months at this point. I find it invigorating, as is it confusing.
Getting used to working with a different group of people can be rather confusing. So, so what happened after you left the island?
We are still at sea, as it seems. We are working our way through to the next, I guess, port of call.
Do you have any particular goals in mind, or are you just staying on the same ship and sailing away from the island you burnt to the ground?
Little of this, little of that, sightseeing. I've lived in the Badlands all my life, but my compatriots are quite new. They seem to be trying to figure a way, if any, to get out of there.
So, where do they come from?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if I've ever asked. It's a good point. I probably should get around to that. I believe they're from the mainland. The Badlands are separated from the mainland by a magical storm that makes transportation quite difficult.
Also, I wasn't imagining that.
Yes, yes, it is a storm that'll rip the flesh from bone, will sunder ships. It's quite intense.
Unless you know an underground shortcut.
Ah, yes, Ooh, you know about an underground shortcut?
Oh?
Hmm. Strange to say it if you didn't. But I guess it's, fair point, fair point.
If one existed, it could be useful.
Very true.
What is life like in the Badlands?
Honestly, it depends on where you are. Some islands are havens of law, been there for a long time. Other ones are wild, untamed, and quite dangerous. There's an expanse of many small islands that maybe even to this day few people have explored. You can get almost a little bit of everything if you plan it right on a trip.
Yes, sounds like it. So, which island are you from?
Uh, my home island was by the name of Mayar.
That sounds familiar. I don't know if I've been there. I haven't been here very long.
You may have heard of the failing of Mayar. It was burned to the ground.
Was that you, or was that someone else?
I won't say it was not me.
Why did you burn your homeland to the ground?
It's a bit of a long story. My childhood was enjoyable for the most part. My father was a fisherman, but he grew ill of mind, and he was drawn to the drink. In one of his drunken rages, he killed my mother. And then, as a twist of the knife upon that, he then sold me to a local temple as a student. I did not learn much, but what I did learn would shake the foundation of that island. Uh, it took me years, it took me much searching, going into the places that no one was supposed to go. And I found behind the leather binding of an old tome a way to pull apart the seams of reality and see beyond it, to learn the secrets that I wasn't supposed to know, potentially be able to bring back my mother. It didn't work as expected. And what I saw that day after sacrificing my father, I learned that we are all just but puppets. We are meat on strings. Nothing we do matters in the grand cosmic scheme. And in that madness, that untamed madness, not the tamed madness you see before you, I burned down my village.
You found it. I
Yeah.
mm, thought that was. I've heard of. Believe I've heard of the thing you found, and it was supposed to be hidden so well that no one would ever be able to find it, but it was hidden in the binding of a book?
Yes, it was the rites of Ericoma.
Told him to hide it somewhere no one would find it, and
To be fair, I was not supposed to be there.
yes, but the binding of a book is not the most secure place to hide something.
I suppose.
If you're hiding something, hide it under the foundation of a building, maybe.
I would not have been able to get at that. You are 100% correct. I'm a reader, not a builder.
What else did you find in those books?
I learned a lot of knowledge. I built upon the basis of my knowledge of necromancy. I learned dark secrets, how to bring undead to those that have died. And of course, other arcane secrets, the typical spells. Uh, I learned a good recipe for human. Um, it's interesting what could be found in a good book.
It's true, I've found some interesting conundrums in books before when I was researching ways to prevent the world ending in different ways.
Ah, interesting.
Because the world seems to be intent on ending.
Ah, yes, it does seem to pop up now and again. So you are yourself a learned scholar.
Some of it was self-taught, others picked up along the way. I heard gone and studied at different places. Just I've been
Interesting.
on the road for a very long time, and I'm more or less retired from the adventure life now, but I choose to continue to travel and keep an eye on things.
Interesting. It is very rare to meet someone as learned as you on the road. My compatriots are quite dull in comparison.
How old are they? I'm curious.
I believe Maeve is but a small child, maybe 8, 9, 10. It's hard to say. Ages are weird. I believe Edmund is actually quite old. He is of Fey descent. The lizard man, I am completely unsure. Wrinkles on a lizard. He could be 5 years old for all I know.
That is a little hard to tell with Dragonborn, but from what I saw, I believe he is definitely older than 5.
Oh well, that's good news. I was worried.
Were your companions able to tell you anything of what happened on the island?
It was actually quite an interesting adventure on their part. I'm saddened, one, that I did not get to see the mass death of 70 villagers, nor that I was able to meet what the villagers had hearkened as the beast. It seemed that some strange shifting life form, more hyena than wolf, but also a man, I believe they are called a Buddha, was for some reason sacking the village every 2 to 3 nights, coming through, jumping through windows, crashing through doors, killing but one single villager and then disappearing into the night. It evidently, as we had come to there, had been happening for some number of months. Everybody that could get away had got away, and it was just but the lonely remainder, scared to madness, that remained.
Can understand the madness in that situation. It's
Yes, quite mad.
the worst nightmare I can picture.
They were desperate, to say the least. Very desperate. They tried time and time again to get on our ship as I was guarding it. Unfortunately, those that made it aboard did not make it off.
You killed them, didn't you?
Yes.
Did you resurrect them and throw them at their friends too?
Uh, that would have been a good idea. I was saving them. I was trying to maximize my efforts. And I was trying to, I guess, I kept one alive for some time to figure out what was exactly was going on the island. What I learned was a little disheartening. I learned of Maeve's eruption of power. But my crewmates, they after Maeve's incident, made a quick leaving of the town and went into the mountain. They found a burial chamber for the past rulers of the island. In there, they told me, they'd actually met the human form of the beast. He claimed to be a man who had true ties to the crown, the actual true ruler. His sister had attempted his assassination, and he made it out alive somehow, and through some form of arcane mastery, found an off branch of lycanthropy, which in a move that I found logically brilliant but quite out of character, my crew made a deal with this man.
Interesting tactic with a for the fairly dark and twisted situation.
Yes, it was. I've got to say, 10 out of 10 on their part. I did not think they had it in them. Uh, but they made a deal, and then on top of that, they ended up betraying this man, this beast.
Was
It,
probably going to do it to them if they didn't do it to him.
probably very true. They were able to get inside the current, I believe they're called Stone Lord, the current Stone Lord's manse. And inside the manse, they were able to create I guess, a bit of a distraction that led to the beast coming in and trying to kill his queen sister. Unfortunately, I guess their hearts got a hold of them and they decided to attack the beast. They were able to win, not without some harm done. And of course, the Stone Lord was not happy at the end and tried to have them killed. But it seems her subjects were done with death and let them leave.
Wondered what happened to her after they left. Because part of that death and destruction could be blamed on her.
Very true. I wish I had met her. She seemed brilliant, but, uh, I guess cursed would be the right word.
Yeah, that word sounds rather accurate, and I don't believe she would be remaining in power much longer. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone else left and found new homes. It's hard to remain in a place after that.
I'm quite sure that even though my friends tried to help that island, I believe in a very direct way they may have sealed its fate.
What makes you say that?
Well, though I did not see Maeve's incident in person, I did see its after effects. While they escaped into the mountain, I saw the funeral pyres being built for a great deal many people. I saw them start to tear apart their own homes in attempts to make rafts and boats. I saw great mobs of people going tarry and forth through the town, searching for them. For at least a day or two, chaos reigned.
Would not want to be anywhere near that town.
Rough to say the least.
Hopefully, the people find a way forward that does not involve death and distrust and more death.
I mean, not to say anything about death and distrust, but yeah, it's a rough way to live.
Very.
Fun way to live, I suppose.
Depends on your definition of fun and how good you are at dodging daggers.
Ah, true. I luckily have a spell that aids with that. It's called Shield. It's quite useful.
Very useful spell indeed.
My good friend Edmund tried to shove me off the boat once, and I used it. He's very silly.
What led up to him trying to shove you off the boat?
Oh, he had just found out that I killed all the villagers trying to get on a ship. Ah, that what a trickster.
I'd be interested to meet this Edmund.
Eh, he's probably one of my best friends.
Is he also one of your first friends?
That would be accurate. I guess in my line of work it's difficult to get friends, but when they're foisted upon you, it's quite easy.
That is true. Have you ever tried learning magic from others? Or finding someone else who also has the same interest in learning from them?
I have never found one such that could match my necromantic powers, but I would be quite interested in learning. Do you have any such knowledge?
Not personally, but I think I might know someone who knows someone.
Ooh, call me enticed.
I also know many people who practice other kinds of magic if you would like to pick up some extra tricks that could be useful in situations where perhaps necromantic magic may not be the most useful.
I mean, personally, I've never found necromantic magic to not be useful, but, I mean, if you're offering,
May be able to get in touch with someone, but none of them are near here. Actually, some of them have gone
ah,
quiet, but that happens sometimes.
yeah, yes, great power is like a flame, it draws much attention.
That and sometimes I send them people that they don't always particularly enjoy talking to, and then they ignore me for a while.
I'm not gonna lie, that may happen if you send me somewhere. Like I said, I've been cold, prickly.
Eh, you seem quite alright to me. Plus, you look much better without that man's dagger in your spleen.
I mean, true, I do like my spleens. Fried with onion.
I may see some of my associates who are more skilled in fighting wouldn't mind keeping an eye on you and making sure nothing bad happens.
Oh, I would deeply appreciate that.
As otherwise, you might get a different view on death before you can leave here.
Oh, I mean, I would. I mean, I think death rocks, but I guess I suppose if death were to happen to me, it would rock significantly less.
Probably. I'm curious though, what's the most interesting thing you've brought back from the dead?
Well, what is the most interesting thing? Well, I have mentioned it before, but Belle's head I had brought back. It's just a head, and it bites people that get too close. It's probably my favorite thing.
One of my days, a giant skull.
Ah, yes, I have grown quite fond of Belle's skull.
Remind me to make sure the local children know to not try and pet him.
Probably a good idea.
Most of them mean well, but thankfully they have really fast reflexes from constantly picking people's pockets.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I had very few of my inventions are what you would call child safe. I should probably think about that more since there is a child on the boat. Oh boy. Oops.
Especially if she has the ability to unintentionally kill as many as you say she did.
That's a good point. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, you've got a point. Yeah. She does seem sturdy though. She's like a sturdy 8-year-old. I've seen her take a lot of punishment, get bitten by dog creatures, get slashed at. I think she'll probably be okay.
Whatever do you think? You have other people there to keep you from doing anything too dangerous.
I mean, worst case worst. I guess I could just, I could bring her back and that she'd be so friendly.
I don't think that would go over well with the rest of your party members.
I mean, you're gonna you might know more than me. I'm very bad at reading a situation and even worse at reading people.
Accidentally murdering young party members and then bringing them back as humble servants doesn't go well.
You know what? I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna commit it to memory.
It might help prolong your life a little bit if you do.
Writing it down now. Do not kill Maeve and bring her back. Considered unpolite.
Perhaps as let me get us another round of drinks and I can give you some more good life advice that will guide you in the future.
Ah, yes, another drink, barkeep. I'm learning so much. My name is Ryan Mossbarger. My character is Kalt. And the podcast is Dice Populi. It's kind of a weird concept for a podcast. We are all switching out. We're all doing double duty. We're both players and DMs. So each person is doing their own little mini campaign, like their own little arc. And we each kind of like take turns doing it. So the first, I think what's currently out is we have my arc, which is called It Comes in the Night, which is about some ooky spooky stuff going on a small island. The first one was done by our he calls himself the headmaster, Colin. He did one that was like an escape. It was called Escape from Farpoint. And then the one that we're working on currently, we just started. It's like Trouble in Paradise, I believe, is the name. So so each one was different. I Colin did the first one, I did the second one, and now Josh, who plays Edmund, is doing the third one.
Tales of Adventure is written, directed, and produced by me, Brianna Toiber, as part of Pseudonym Social, a creative podcast network. The music is by Patrick Chester of Chester Studios. To see more of his work, visit his website at chesterstudios.net. Find out more about Pseudonym Social by visiting our website at pseudonymsocial.wordpress.com. If you like what I'm doing and would like to support this podcast, please go to patreon.com/pseudonymsocial and choose one of the tiers connected to Tales of Adventure.